Red Dead Redemption 2 is a perfect game. However, in order to make something perfect, you must remove what is deemed as quality reducing or outright unnecessary. This is called cut content. An RDR 2 has so much of it that there's an entire iceberg dedicated to it, which we'll be covering in this video. Like any other iceberg video, I will start at the surface covering some more known RDR 2 cut content, and as you go deeper, it gets less known and more obscure. For a lengthy video like this, I've gotten a few of my buddies to assist me, 8 layers and 8 YouTubers. So without further ado, let's begin. Number 1. IKZ model. Princess Isabeau Katharina Zinsmeister, or more commonly known in the RDR2 community as simply IKZ, is a missing person in an unsolved mystery of the world of RDR2. Her missing person poster can be found outside at the Old Light Saloon in the Van Horn trading post. She's a mystery that still leaves the players of RDR2 dumbfounded till this day. Years later, however, on RDR2's PC release, an in-game cutscene model for Princess IKZ as an adult titled CS_Princess Isabeau was discovered within the files of the PC release. The character model for IKZ possesses her signature birthmark on the left side of her face rather than the right as described. This was likely developer oversight. Additionally, her birthmark heavily resembles a birthmark identifying the descendants of Kraft, a deity worshipped by the Epsilon cult in the Grand Theft Auto series. A cut feature of RDR2's epilogue would allow us to revisit the island of Gorma without the need of mods. This obviously didn't make the final cut, however. As disappointing as it may seem, it makes a lot of sense why Rockstar did this. One point I brought up in my RDR2 map with content video repeatedly is that something that matters to the story of RDR2, it's not used. And quite frankly, John Marston going to Guarma not only doesn't make sense, but why? He never even went to the island in the main story of RDR2. Rockstar knew that Guarma was going to be the least liked chapter, so making it revisable wouldn't really be a right step in the right direction. Arthur Morgan was originally meant to access New Austin and has cut dialogue, animations, and whole missions that are meant to take place in New Austin and never made it into the final game. I went more in depth into this in my RDR2 map content video, but to keep it short and simple, in the context of the story, there's really no reason for Arthur to be in New Austin. For a deeper dive on that, I recommend checking the video, which is in the description below. Sheriff Owens. Sheriff Owens is a minor cut character that would have been the sheriff in one of the towns of RDR2. Number 6. Adam Gray. Adam Gray is a character that would have been one of the members of the Gray family in RDR2. Number 7, Mr. Pattinson. A character called Mr. Pattinson can be found in the game files, and when searching this NPC, we find a letter that can be accessed even with 100% completion. From the looks of it, Mr. Pattinson would have played into the story of Clone Favors, Cat Monroe, and the Native Americans. Frank Heck. The cut character Frank Heck was intended to have a mission in the Noblest of Men and a Woman, where he would have been encountered playing a game of cards in the Tumbleweed Saloon. Though it seems at some point in the game, an attempt was made to relocate it to the Saint Denis Saloon, with 4 others. The player needed to have a certain amount of money and needed to be dressed in specific clothing in order for the guard to let them into the room. The player would request for Frank Heck to pose for a photo, which he would agree. Afterwards, the player would have participated in a game of cards with him, and at some point, he would have insulted Frank Heck, and which would result in him flipping over the table and drawing his guns. It was possible to disarm one of his guns, which would result in him attempting to shoot the other. Only a mission photo, music, some animations. The photo Theodore Levin would have given Arthur Frank Heck, which can still partially be seen in the first mission, and Frank Heck's model remain in the files. Armadillo Train Station Worker. An unused Armadillo Train Station Worker, different from the one who appears in Red Dead Online, exists with bandaged appearances and an alternate appearance for 1907. Number 10, Eliza and Isaac. Eliza and Isaac are Arthur's wife and son who died under the 2 crosses we see in the 3rd trailer of RDR2. Or are they? Eliza exists in the game, and there's a very good chance you've seen her already. Francis Leclerc's mother, the model for her, is Eliza. There are multiple theories as to why she was cut and whether it was for the sake of the story or not fitting in, but ultimately there's no clear answer, and this will most likely remain as an unsolved mystery. Number 11, cut horses. A lot of cut horses in RDR2. Instead of going over every breed, I'll leave a link to a video showcasing them in the description below. Number 12, Featherstone Chambers. An interesting unused character called Featherstone Chambers can be found in the files. The interesting thing about this particular character is that Dutch uses his name in the mission, The Gilded Cage. Maybe originally Mr. Chambers played some part in the mission. Number 13, Grace Lansing. Grace Lansing is a cut character from Reddit Online. She was originally planned to be Jessica LaClark's final target in order to avenge her husband's death, but her inclusion was unfortunately scrapped last minute. In the mission destroyed by grief, Horley implies to Jessica that Grace still needs to be dealt with, and she ends by saying she just have to wait. So I'm guessing the Rockstar intended for this storyline to be continued, but didn't go through with it due to the major commitments with Grand Theft Auto Online. Grace only made it to the game as her mod can still be found in the game files. In my opinion, leaving Grace out made the story feel quite pointless and unfinished, and it's a shame because Reddit Online had so much potential, people still campaigned for a major update till this day. Number 14, Sharks. Sharks were cut for the game and would have appeared in Gorman Free Roam. Number 15, Bobcats. Another cut animal from RDR2 are bobcats, which would have spawned in Mexico, but well, Mexico's cut. Number 16, Seth Briars. A character that features in RDR1, Seth was originally going to be featured in RDO, and would have seen a younger, healthier, and overall more sane version of Seth, but of course, this was cut from the game. Number 17, Doc Wormwood. This is an unused bounty target that has a headless outfit variation, implying his head would have been blown off at some point. His partially cut bounty poster, which only appears during Black Belt's mission, says he was wanted for poisoning people by posing as a traveling salesman, similar to Benedict Albright. He would have been found at the Cornwall Kerosene and Tar. Number 18, Archibald Jameson. This was a wealthy businessman in the coal mining industry and is the owner of the Jameson Mining and Coal Company, which Leviticus Cornwall had investments in. A letter from Archibald Jameson and Leviticus Cornwall can be found in the train that the Valiant gang robbed during the mission. Who the hell is Leviticus Cornwall? Perhaps would have played a bigger role in the game, but alas, it never came fully into fruition. And that's the service level covered. Now onto the second level, presented by yours truly, Just One Ad.
Obese pedestrians were originally supposed to be an addition in Red Dead Redemption 2. However, they are nowhere to be found in the final game, maybe due to the fact that obesity wasn't really commonplace in the 19th century, but their models can still be found in the game files. Deer Cottage and Reed Cottage were intended to be inhabited by feuding twin brothers. Pet models and unique animations for both remain in the game files. It seems during their final encounter, they would have been found dead. Josie Dawson still has lines which allude to them in the final game. One of the many cut outfits for Arthur is the pirate outfit, which looks cool, but it's understandable why it never made it into the final game. Because imagine how ridiculous it would be if we saw Arthur telling Dutch, "I gave you all I had," with tears in his eyes as he's dying in a pirate outfit. "Just one more plunder, Arthur. We have enough doubloons to leave." In an interview with the actor who played Morgan, Roger Clark revealed that RDR2 contained a sequence where the Vanderlyn gang would take out some Boston bounty hunters on a train. Benjamin Byron Davis, the actor for Dutch, added on to this saying, "We spent a lot of time on that. I hate that got cut. It got cut because I guess they couldn't get it up to snuff. I do my best not to want what I don't have, but I didn't know that I needed another mission for Arthur and Dutch." All in all, this would have been an interesting mission, and it's a shame it got cut. The John Marston we see in the epilogue isn't really the John Marston we all know and love, most likely due to crunch and development hell. Rockstar had to rush and slap John's face onto Arthur's model and call it a day. That's why John's body seems so weird, and a lot of his most iconic features like his hair, eye color, and even his goddamn outfit is all wrong. Screenshots for some of the missions in-game show he was meant to be his normal self that we see in the main story, but ultimately, the John Marston we see in the epilogue is just a facade. New Bordeaux was the original name for Saint Denis, but because another company under Take-Two, 2K Games, chose New Bordeaux for Mafia 3, Rockstar changed it to Saint Denis. There's an unused character known as Neil Wellen, who is still in the files. He wears a recolored version of Billy Midnight's suit and pants in red and gray instead of blue and gold. Neil was part of the Cut Tray 2 mission, and some animations exist for him, including the one that depicts Dutch opening a window only for Arthur to throw Neil out of it. Dr. Lane Higgins is a cut character that would have been present in the Guarma chapter, and cut voice lines depict him asking the player to stop members of the Cuban military from desecrating a sacred site in order to steal post-Columbian artifacts, which he believes to belong in a museum. Red Dead Redemption 2's man-made mutant can be found in a large abandoned home directly west of Van Horn. Maybe we could have brought this creature to life like something straight out of Frankenstein. For a game as realistic as Red Dead 2 that has insane attention to detail, demonstrated by having the testicles on your horse shrink in the cold, you would think you would have a quiver for your bow and arrow. However, the quiver is one of the main utility items that never made it into the final game. The leading theory for its exclusion is that Arthur would be carrying too many things, and he would look more like a Native American warlord than an outlaw. There would have been a cut mission with Micah and Arthur, and the only information we really have on it is that it involved them blowing up one of the docks, and here's some footage for it.
Let's get out of here! Rise! Keep moving, Arthur!
Special thank you to the absolute legend DoomsDave for letting me narrate in this part of his video. Get this man to 20k before 2026!
Hello. All right. Jenny Calendar. Jenny Calendar. One of the textures for Davy Calendars and Jenny Cook's grave has the name inscribed as Jenny Calendar. Most of the files and the grave for Davy have his name spelled Calendar, implying his last name was spelled this way initially. It's also worth noting that in Arthur's journal the last name is spelled Calendar, though this may be intentionally misspelled. Shopkeepers and lawmen including Ben Calloway, Herbert Moon, and Chu Ling all have cut casual outfits for 1899 and 1907. Tallulah Jetty. There was meant to be a gang hideout in Roanoke Ridge where Van Horn Trading Post is now located, named Tallulah Jetty. It is possible that the Tallulah Jetty gang would have inhabited it. Leon's Niece Mission. A character known as Leon's niece would have been rescued by Bill and Arthur during a mission in Guarma. Cut dialogue indicates that she would have been taken off the island. Molly and Javier in the Gilded Cage. Molly O'Shea has an unused outfit for the Gilded Cage mission. She also has 2 unused shirts, a torso, hair, and a coat, and 2 unused blankets. Javier Escuela also has an unused tuxedo, which is most likely intended for this mission. Blunderbuss, Buffalo Rifle, and Derringer. These are all cut weapons that would have been in Red Dead 2. The Blunderbuss and Buffalo Rifle are present in Red Dead 1, however. Many cut trinkets. As it suggests, there are a lot of cut trinkets that were meant for the game but never actually happened. Iron Cloud. In Amberino, there was a deleted location named Iron Cloud, which would have served as a gang camp and a landmark. Bessie Adair. There is an unused character in Red Dead Online named Bessie Adair. She has an eye patch and was meant to be a daredevil, as described in the Ariel Amazement newspaper article. Crow's Garlic and Saltbush. There are 2 cut herbs known as Crow's Garlic and Saltbush. Crow's Garlic is interesting as it's listed as a spice alongside oregano, thyme, and mint, so what its effects would have been interesting to see. Confused, Drained, and Disoriented were all statuses that could have been inflicted by special arrows or throwing knives. Caliga Hall was meant to have an accessible interior as its main house. There was an unused file mentioning quicksand. Molly O'Shea was originally going to be buried in an unmarked grave in relative close proximity to Beaver Hollow instead of her body being burned. The texture of the grave, location coordinates, and model exist in the game files, and it can be spawned in using mods.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I'm Lunch Tray Boy, and this is my little collaboration with DoomsDave. He's my buddy of mine. And yeah, if you guys do go on to enjoy this, check out my channel. So let's go ahead and get started. Purchasable safe houses were cut. There remain several properties with unfinished interiors, which are labeled as player housing in the game files in Strawberry, Rhodes, and Ansberg. In the files, there's a restraining order from Gavin, which may have been obtained off of Nigel. Although this is cut from the game, leading players to speculate as to what happened to him. Some of these theories include Gavin possibly left Nigel after an argument, which is implied through Nigel's dialogue. Although Nigel states that he believes Gavin was taken by somebody, one popular theory suggests that Gavin doesn't really exist and simply a character in Nigel's mind. Lastly, some speculate that Gavin is a reference to Gavin Free, a member of Achievement Hunter, alongside Jeff Ramsey and Jack Patillo, who was often unavailable at the office of the show due to filming other projects. Both Ramsey and Patillo voice a railway clerk and the Valentine hotel manager, respectively. Most of the moving boats in the game, like the ones near Saint Denis, have cut functionality. This functionality was made accessible by a now patched glitch in Red Dead Online. Pretty self-explanatory, as the name suggests, a lot of fish were cut for Red Dead Redemption 2. Another cut minigame that was present in Red Dead Redemption 1 is horse wrestling. Maybe this would have tied into the horse fence in Scarlet Meadows in some type of way. A camel was meant to appear in game. It was likely originally featured in the Stranger mission. He's British, of course, and has animations relating to lassoing and decomposing. There exists a model skeleton and few pairs of legs for a character known as Miss Timmons, who's implied to have been Mayor Timmons' wife. One of the unused leg textures features lingerie, and there is an unused box of shaving cream addressed to her. The legs also feature male genitalia, which implies the wife was transgender. Continuing on the storyline of Princess IKZ, we would have been able to turn her into the Iceberg sheriff, but of course it never happened. Arthur has cut journal entries and drawings for animals and plants and points of interest that are exclusive to New Austin, as well as the Great Plains and Tall Trees area of West Elizabeth, which he cannot access through normal means. He also has cut journal entry for fishing and a test of faith, and for seeing the later phases of the strange man's shack. Arthur's entry isn't technically cut as the player can still study them. John has cut journal entries for the green sea turtle and other Guarma exclusive animals such as scarlet macaw. There is an unused mission cutscene for chapter 4 in the game files that shows Charles leaving camp on horseback, which was originally a part of the cut mission involving Charles, Eagleflies, and Arthur rescuing native children from being taken to reform school. The cutscene was repurposed into a regular random encounter in the final game, and part of this cutscene can be seen in the second trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2, where he says, "We need an extra gun." Many stranger missions appear to have unique animations for both Arthur and John, though John's animations go unused in the final game. Alright, so that was my layer of the Iceberg for this video collaboration. I was really excited to be a part of this. Thank you, DoomsDave, for inviting me. If you guys do go on to enjoy any type of Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption content, GTA Online, Red Dead Online type content, lore videos, go ahead, feel free to check out my channel. And all that out of the way, I'm Lunch Stray Boy, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Layer number 5. Number 1 is giant models. So there was meant to be a giant that has cut animations, models, lines, and textures with alternate appearances for $80.99 and $19.07. Number 2, horse paper forging. So the price for selling a horse without papers is drastically lower than if you have papers. Originally, we would have been able to forge horse papers. Number 3, Old Fort Wallace. Fort Wallace was known as Old Fort Wallace and was located in Grizzlies East in earlier stages of the development. At one point, it also served as a spot in which bounty posters could be acquired and had a shop. And it was actually located higher up on a mountain range than in the final game, and the mountain it was supposed to appear on had a completely different shape during the beta. A cut road sign can be found underneath the map, near where it was supposed to be, and a glitch occurs when hovering over its beta location on the map, and it will show the player as being wanted dead or alive in that area. Number 4, second girl in Oh Brother with right hand princess and Rockstar logo birthmark. There was an unused female character that is labeled for the Oh Brother Stranger mission. Her torso is unfinished and her right hand bears the Rockstar logo. The texture for it is called Right Hand Princess in the files. Number 5, the hanging of Dale Maroney. Or Maroney, I'm sorry, did I say that right? I'm gonna go with Maroney. There's a cut character mentioned by an NPC in Smithfield's saloon named Dale Maroney, who has outfits for $80.99 and $19.07. Cut animations reveal that he has 5 encounters that were cut from the game. On the first, he would have been seen drunkenly stumbling out of the saloon, and the player would have thrown him into one of the stalls at the stable. Then he'd be seen being beaten up by a man in an alley in which the player could intervene. After this, he'd be trying to steal something drunkenly from a store only to be arrested by the sheriff. The player could then presumably meet him in a cell. And finally, the player could either watch him be hanged or intervene by shooting the rope in which he'd drunkenly stumble away. He also has a cut vest and hair. Number 6. Gilbert Knightley's cut model. Gilbert Knightley's appearance in The Giddled Cage is random, although a model exists in the files for him. Number 7. Saving the starving kids. It seems that at one point the player could have saved starving kids at Clausen's Rest. Cut text shows that they would have been taken to the sheriff in Valentine. Number 8. A leak detailing various details about the game, including Marston birthing a foal and one of the gang members being a spy for the Pinkertons, was posted by a user known as Red Dead Insider. It also detailed the troublesome state of development of the game and listed some features that didn't make it, such as recruiting gang members like Abigail and Jack throughout the course of the game, which would be so cool. Wow, that's a fun fact. And the very last one of layer number 5, number 9. The number 9 lord, the Curse of Valentine. A mass grave connected to the Curse of Valentine was cut. It was intended to be located near the stables. Additionally, there were collectible pieces of an animal skin painting that depicted a massacre of Native Americans by settlers connected to the Curse of Valentine. They could have been collected in spots near Valentine, and a man at a campfire still mentions them during a random encounter. Other Native American artifacts for the Curse of Valentine were also cut from the game, though it seems they would have been discarded by the player shortly after being unearthed. This includes a Native American mask that would have been sitting in the gunsmith. Thank you for having me, Dave. Love it.
The Abe McLean mission with an obese mail order bride. Although there is also an obese man in the game files with unknown affiliations, the obese mail order bride is a man wearing a dress, wig, and makeup intended for the Abe McLean mission that was cut. In this mission, the obese mail order bride was supposed to play the role of an art appraiser. Brass Knuckles. There is an icon, model, and textures for Brass Knuckles inside the game files. Brass Knuckles could have been equipped by a player. This was meant for single player, but got cut and reserved for the online mode. Cut cheat code. In the files there is an unused cheat code which reads, "Is it strength or true weakness?" The third meteorite given by the squirrel statue. This references the infamous third meteorite being supposedly lootable by a squirrel in the game files. Pink cow udders. Originally, cow udders in RDR2 were meant to be pink, perhaps for the aesthetics, but a healthy cow udder is meant to have the color that is present in the final game. Monkeys, chimps, crocodiles, piglets, and baby bears. These are all cut animals that were supposed to be in the game, but didn't make it. Horses urinating. In RDR2, horses have the ability to poop, but they were also supposed to have the ability to urinate. This was likely cut due to the mare genitalia that is covered by Snook in the final layer. Senor Andreas Colin's missions. Andreas Colin is a cut character that was meant to appear in the Guarma chapter, which DoomsDave covers in his cut chapter video.
Hey guys, it's been a while. It's me, Alcappa27. I just want to say thanks to DoomsDave for letting me on this video, but let's get into it. First up, we've got the scrapped horse weight system. RDR2 would have originally featured a way more intricate horse weight system that would have had a similar effect to Arthur's weight, whereas if your horse is underweight, it would have increased stamina and decreased health, and vice versa, so you need to feed your horses. Second up, we've got the Creed Slaughterhouse. There was supposed to be a gang hideout in Bio-Noir called Creed Slaughterhouse. The gang would have set up camp there for an unknown amount of time in earlier versions. This may have been the precursor to Decay, but this is just me speculating. Thirdly, we've got the cut minigames. Liar's Dice, Craps Field, Chess, Horseshoes, 3-Card Monty and Roulette minigames were originally supposed to be in RDR2, but never made it into the game. Liar's Dice and Horseshoes are present in Red Dead Redemption 1, but nowhere to be seen in the sequel. Now if you like me, this is really annoying, because I love Liar's Dice. Now we've got the Manzanita Post shopkeeper and train station worker. The Manzanita Post location would have originally featured a shopkeeper and train station worker, similarly to the first game where there is a shop. Next up we've got 2K textures. 2K textures were meant to be featured in RDR2, providing higher quality textures for characters, weapons and so on, but perhaps due to optimization for the PS4 and Xbox One they had to use 1K textures instead. But take a look at this mod that replaces the 1K textures with 2K. Finally, we've got the Grand Corrigan as the Serendipity. The Grand Corrigan is a ship that we board and rob in Chapter 4, however it was originally meant to be the Serendipity we see in RDR1. In the game files, it is referred to as the Serendipity, implying it was originally meant to be that ship. Again, I just want to thank Dave for letting me on this video, I really appreciate it, man. And to any of you watching, as I'm recording this, it's currently Good Friday, so I guess everyone have a good Friday, and it's almost Easter, so happy Easter everyone.
Hey, what's up guys, I'm Snook, and let's get into it. Gorilla. There's a gorilla we can find in RDR2 in the state of West Elizabeth, however, it's static. Perhaps the gorilla model was meant for the He's British of course mission strand, but it was scrapped, and the gorilla model was just left there as an Easter egg for whoever finds it. Adler Mansion. The photo of Charlotte and Cal Buffar is said to be in Chicago, though the picture was taken outside of the Braithwaite Manor. In the files, the picture is named Adler Mansion and also Rocky Mansion in that same file. Madeline Foussard. A character known only as Madeline Foussard has leftover files as well as hair, a turban, and an open and closed veil in the files. When translating the Spanish of the locals on Guarma, you can hear them talking about Foussard's wife, so with these two pieces of evidence, it's easy to come to a conclusion. Mare genitalia. In RDR2, the male horses have visible testicles and eggplants, as you could say, but originally this would extend to the female horses or mares. Thankfully, this was cut and it really just isn't necessary. And whatever you do, do not look up mare genitalia. You've been warned. Geldings. Another horse-related cut addition to RDR2 were the appearance of geldings. If you don't know what a gelding is, it's a male horse, but without its, And the primary reason is to prevent stallion behavior, which is generally regarded as inappropriate for most equestrian disciplines. This didn't end up in the final game, and honestly, I understand why it was left out. All those, you're alright boys, won't hold much weight anymore. Folding shotgun. And finally, a cut weapon from the game is the folding shotgun, which would have been a good addition and a great early game weapon.
Thank you all so much for watching. I know it's been quite a while since my last video, but, well, I don't know, stuff happens. This video's been in the work for about 3 years now, and I lost a lot of significant progress when I switched from my old laptop to this PC, so I had to basically build a video from the ground up all over again. I don't want to make any false promises, but this is the last video in the cut content series. So also, just a little side note, if you still want to support me, I make music under the name JAXCE, pronounced Chase, and I'm available on all platforms. And if you're a fan of Invincible, I have a song titled and inspired by Invincible, so check it out. Also, thank you all for 5 amazing years on YouTube, and I started this channel when I was about 10, and now I'm 15. I started my first YouTube channel when I was in the 2nd grade, and I'm almost in my senior year, which is crazy to think about. I think I have to say it now, I'm gonna step back from this channel. I will return one day when I have everything in order, but I just focusing on other things right now, and I think I need to make that clear. And if there's any DoomsDave fans still out there, I think this is going to be the last video for a significant while. Thanks to everyone who was featured on this video for showing up, but until next time, that's DoomsDave signing off.